Welcome to another episode of Give It a Nudge. I am excited today to have someone who I consider a friend. He does have a business partner here as well who is not coming on camera, but we'll keep that secret. But Scott King from Zapme today is coming to talk about his new business, but also recap on a little bit of what he's done over his lifetime. Welcome, Scotty.
Thanks very much for having me. Looking forward to it.
It's flying all the way up for Adelaide for this. I feel just
for you.
touched.
Just for you.
So why don't we do a quick snapshot of what Zapme is, just for the audience, before we start delving into your past?
Sure. Zapme was a COVID innovation, actually.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. I was based over in Switzerland and doing some consultancy for a offline biometric company, and I was travelling between Denmark and Sweden and England and Switzerland and all over the place. And, and before I knew it, I had all these SIM cards taped to my passport.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So and then COVID came, and I was stuck in Switzerland, and I couldn't use any of those SIM cards because I couldn't go to any country. And then that's where the idea came from. So that's the original start of Zapme, and then started to build in some other features to it.
So how would you describe Zapme?
So Zapme is a unified communication system, and it includes numbers, so numbers from all over the world, data, which means you can land in 200 countries and have data instantly as you walk off the plane.
That's cool.
And then we have a messaging system, which is where you can message photos and conversation and audio and all the usual messaging conversations. Yeah.
Right.
So that's the communications platform in its entirety, but there's a lot of exciting stuff behind that and the reason why it was created.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So COVID, so that means it's been around 4 years, roughly.
No, it was a thought in COVID.
A thought in COVID.
Yeah,
a reality in...
Yeah, and then of course travel stopped.
Well,
so selling...
Would have been pointless.
Selling numbers and multiple numbers while no one could travel was a bit tough.
Yes.
And data as well. So that was the period of a 2-year build, of which now we're launching globally. Yeah.
Cool.
And it's coming up very soon, in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we'll make sure we get this out on that date if we can.
That'd be great.
We can talk about that after. But let's talk about you, because you've had a fascinating past.
Yes.
Where do you want to start? I mean, you've done a lot of different things in your time. Mm-hmm. I like to set the scene so the audience know who they're dealing with. Yeah. Where do you want to go back to? We don't want to go back to the beginning, but give us a sort of quick précis of maybe the first initial times in your career and where it's, because it's twisted and turned.
Yeah. I think I will go back to the beginning, because I'm Alice Springs born and bred. So I'm a country boy by heart, and educated there, and living in Alice Springs all my life with one television program. I wanted to see the world, and one day I said to someone, hey, I want to go and live in Japan. Do you know anyone? And then suddenly, before I knew it, 2 weeks later, I'm going to live in Japan.
How did that happen? Who knew someone in Japan in Alice Springs?
Yeah, it was a school friend, and it was his mother.
Oh.
And she said, I've got a friend. And the next minute, I'm in the mountains of Shikinamori in Nagano-ken, and I was the only person that spoke English in the mountains up in...
What age were you there?
I was... that was 19.
That's pretty daunting.
Yeah. Actually, pre that, I spent a year in Sweden as an exchange student.
Okay.
So I'd already been away a year.
A little bit.
Came back to Alice Springs and then said, I just want to go to Japan. And before I knew it, I was up there.
But Japan's different. Like most countries, there's a level of English.
Yeah.
Japan, there's zero, particularly back then. Like there's zero.
Absolutely. And in the mountains, there was none. There was nobody. Yeah. And the funny part was that's where I became a ski instructor. An Alice Springs boy becoming a ski. So everyone goes, yeah, you sure?
People would think you were making it up. They'd think it was a big green screen if it was
I still have a badge, so I can prove.
So what? So you ended up in Japan. How long did you spend there?
I spent a year in Japan, and then a friend of a friend came to stay in Japan and said, hey, if you're ever in Miami, come and see us there.
I love Miami.
Yeah, I liked Miami. Yeah, so a year later, I was in Miami living on Ocean Drive. And I was working for a guy called Tiger Stainless Steel Welding. Yeah. And every day I used to go past the cruise ships, and I thought one day I'm going to work on those. And sure enough,
you did.
I did. Yeah. And that was actually by accident. I went fishing with the bloke, and he said, "What do you want to do today?" And I said, today I want to work on those cruise ships. So he said, well, my brother-in-law is the director of operations. So a week later, I was in the Bahamas in a white uniform with a white hat, and I spent 8 years on the cruise ships.
This almost sounds... I think this is the definition of serendipity, is it not? Put yourself out there in the situations, good things happen, right? This is literally it.
It is.
I also wanted to work on the cruise ships because I found out that it was tax-free. I never did. But that I actually ended up coming to Australia instead. But that was the thing that really got me. And I'm a terrible singer and dancer, and that seemed to be quite important in most of the roles. So how long were you on the cruise ships for?
8 years.
Oh wow!
8 years. Brought 3 ships across from 2 from Finland, 1 from Italy. Spent 3 years in Alaska, all through the Caribbean.
How cool!
Started the shore excursion department for Carnival Cruise Lines with an old printing press.
Yeah.
You know, printing out papers. So yeah, entrepreneur by trade. And then I remember the day I said, "Hey, can I go from black and white printing press to a colour book?" And they all went, "What?" I said, and then it went from colour book, and I walked in the office and said, "Hey, can I take it from colour book to the internet?" And they said, "Oh, that'll never work."
No, never.
So it never works. So it was quite funny. When I look back at the storyline, I guess my whole life has been about this problem solving.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty wild journey. And, it's funny. People talk about innovation, AI, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When you go back, and unfortunately I can remember a lot of those times as well, the innovation was crazy. Like we went, I mean, my first job, we didn't have computers either. So you go from this world of of no technology, which people can't fathom now, to technology. I think the jumps, okay, they might not have been as fast, but they were just as big, if not bigger, I think.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I'm clearing a ship with 3,000 people on doing port papers with carbon paper.
Yeah.
You know, doing 3 sets of carbon paper, typing it on a typewriter, and I look back and go, wow, can't believe I did that. Yeah, so it was amazing.
Do you know, you might like this story then, when I started in recruitment, you generally take the contact details off so the client can't call them.
Yes.
But because you faxed them after they'd been posted to you, you couldn't take the contact details off. So we used to have on our desks all these different sizes of white tape, and you would tape over the address and the phone numbers, and then you'd fax them over to your client. Isn't that so laborious?
It's amazing. Or the old credit card, we used to swipe it and everyone could see your credit card and all that sort of
So what happened after that? Because that's you've just skipped through quite a few years there, but it was obviously, it was kind of one industry. Where did you go from there?
Well, while I was on the ships, I started one of the first internet cafes in Alaska with a lady called Tracy.
In Alaska?
In Alaska, and called Connections. So we did that. Took that to market and then got rid of that, sold that. And then my dad passed away after 8 years, and I went back to Alice Springs to help my mum with the business, of which I ended up taking over. And that was in the conference industry. And that was fairly standard for me. That was fairly regular. And then I was headhunted by the Lasseter's Hotel Casino Group to come and take care of the convention centre there.
There you go.
So yeah, did that, and we did a lot of things. Actually, that's another innovation. We put an ice skating rink in Alice Springs in the middle of summer. I'll never forget.
How long was it there?
I sat at an executive table. I said, we're going to put an ice skating rink in the middle of summer, in the middle of Alice Springs, because nobody comes to Alice Springs in summer. And we're going to put all these people on the ice. And we put 15,000 people on ice in Alice Springs.
How did you keep it cold? I mean, you put a dome over it?
It was. No, it was inside the convention centre, and we cooled everything down, and we had the air cons, and we pumped brine through the ice, and we did a 30-metre by 15-metre ice skating rink, and it went global, actually. The news went global.
It would do. I mean, that's wild.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting, yeah.
What do you think drove this?
Again, it was a problem. It was a solution.
So where do you think
problem,
that came from? I mean, pretty much from, you're talking about, you went to Sweden, exchange student, 19, you're in Japan.
Yes.
That's not a normal thing for anyone in most environments to do, regardless of what upbringing they have, but probably even less so from an Alice Springs environment where you don't even know what's out there to some degree because you have one TV show, right? So what do you think drove that?
Yeah, I think definitely your mum and dad. You get a lot from mum and dad. Dad was a business owner, started the Penny Farthing bike shop simply because there was no bikes. And then my mum was working for the blood bank, and I remember watching, we called the Banktail muster. It's a muster that goes through the middle of town. Yeah. And they were short on blood at the time, the blood bank. And so my mum came up with a marketing concept of having a person on a gurney with all these blood bags filled with red cordial. And so that was my lesson to marketing. And I never forget it, going past, and then suddenly everyone flooded the blood bank with blood. So I went, well, lesson 101, tell them what you want.
Isn't that fascinating?
Say what you want. So I always remember, if you want something, you got to tell them or you got to ask for it, because someone knows someone that can help you.
That's always true. I definitely believe in that.
So I think a lot of it was definitely from my mum and dad in that part. And of course in Alice Springs, without all these other things that we had, you just came up with ideas all the time and solutions to things, I guess.
I guess so,
yeah.
A lot of time.
It was sport. We're always out and about. And with one television channel, you didn't have much else to do, really. Yeah.
So, and then from there on, what happened after that? So how long you stayed in conferences and running that kind of thing?
4 or 5 years in conferences, 4 or 5 years in the convention centre, got married, had 2 kids in Alice Springs, and then we moved to Adelaide.
Okay.
And I became the general manager of NextGen here in Adelaide, which was a sports health club.
Yeah. And you're still in Adelaide now.
Still in Adelaide now, yeah.
All right, so let's fast forward now to how did this Zapme thing come to fruition? It's in your head. You're stuck in Sweden. Was it all? I forget.
Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yep.
Too many countries in too short a period of time.
Yeah.
The idea's there.
Yeah.
You're allowed to travel again. So
Yes.
did you get stuck in Switzerland, or did you manage to get back?
We did. We actually were in, it was March 2020, and we went to Switzerland. We got stuck in Switzerland. So we were living on Lake Lucerne, this beautiful lake looking over the hill. It was gorgeous, absolutely amazing. And it was there that we were doing the consultancy. So I couldn't go back to Denmark for this consultancy. So all we were doing was the phone thing. And then it just became really hard. One of the big ones was, and talking about problems all the time, was because I took the family over to Europe for the year, we didn't take our phone numbers with us because, as we all know, we have to pay $10 a day or $5 a day.
$10, definitely 10.
$10 a day, whatever it is. So we never took the 4 because it would have cost us $12,000 to have the phone numbers active for the year. So I didn't do it. But then I realized when I was over there, every time I wanted to either move money or log on to a new social media or cryptocurrency or whatever I wanted to do, you needed an OTP, a one-time password. I couldn't get it.
Couldn't get it because you didn't have an Australian number.
That's it. So then I would have to give my Switzerland number, my Danish numbers. Every time I did something, I had to go back and then reapply again, and it just drove me mad. And that's what happened. I remember it. I was on Lake Lucerne in Switzerland, sitting there trying to log on, couldn't get my OTPs, had all these SIM cards taped to the passport, and just went, this is nuts. I said, how can we not, in the year 2020, have a unified communication system where I can be anywhere in the world with any number, and someone can call me and I can call someone? And I just couldn't understand why no one had done that.
And I think I know that I've asked that question. I don't think there's a person in the world who hasn't asked that question. I travel, and often it requires going through a number of different countries, and I like to stop in those countries because it seems crazy not to.
Absolutely.
And how many times does your phone say, welcome to, we're going to charge you, welcome to, we're going to charge you, welcome to, we're going to charge you. And it's interesting, I was in the Caribbean just recently, and most of those countries are covered by Telstra, but every island's a different country, as I'm sure you know. Not all of them are. So I can't remember which one it was we were going into. It might have been, it doesn't matter, might have been Anguilla or someone like that. And they weren't covered by Telstra. And I've got a family of 4 teenagers who love their phones. Before we got through security, we'd spent $900 just because it wasn't a part of the Telstra plan. And I was like, everyone turn your phone off. And then you just go, why can't it just work? I don't understand.
And also we're so programmed to connect to Wi-Fi, connect to McDonald's, connect as we travel, right? We're always connected. Good. No, and I don't know, it was just a bit of a bugbear for me, really. And then I called my mate, who's now my business partner and co-founder, and I said the same thing. And he said, I get it all the time. I can't get OTPs. I can't do this. And then he's changing phone numbers. And anyway, I just researched that and thought, can we build this? And sure enough, we could. And went, that's it. We're going to start to build it. So we started from day one, even though it was COVID.
And you never built tech or not?
No, I've been in hospitality and tourism and conventions and a celebrity manager, and I did manufacturing, never been in tech. But it's a solution-based business to me. It's like I very much am a jack of all trades, master of none, but I know if there's a problem, there's definitely someone out there that can come up with a solution. So we put the team together all over the world, actually. The team is from Adelaide to the Philippines to Europe. So we put this team together that has made this this tech work.
And so you just built tech from scratch, first time ever, bang, no problem.
Well, no problem. I'd love to say it's no problem, but no, tech's hard. But it was really interesting build because it was all about the consumer. It was all about the flow. It was all about the result. And it was about that problem solving because, what we're trying to do with Zapme is trying to allow you to be that global citizen, allow you to have a number, allow you to travel and be anywhere. We understand you're still going to have your local number. Of course. Because you've probably had it for 20 years. How long have you had yours, for example?
I've had mine since I arrived here in 99. So what is that? That's like, oh my God, that's 25 years.
There you go. So you're probably not going to move it right now, right?
Not ideally.
No, exactly. So the idea behind it is that we wanted to give you an application that you could have another number, a second number, if you want to travel. And I've got lots of scenarios for you as well today, but it was one of those that we went, okay, you got your primary, but there's times you need that second number, and there's so many times. It's a big market for us.
So let's take a scenario, right? So I've got a friend.
Yes.
He's done very well in his life, and his business is now all over the world. And he travels probably 15 times a year, which is a lot, right?
That is a lot.
And it's a lot of different countries, and some of them are quite random.
Yes.
How would that work for him? So he's obviously got his Australian number, which he's going to keep, right?
Yeah, he's going to keep that.
So how does it work outside of that? What happens next?
Well, there's 2 things he can do. One is he can have a Zapme Australian number, and then he can travel to anywhere. And say, for example, you want to call him, you can call him on If he doesn't activate his international roaming, of course, then it's not going to work for his own number. But for a Zapme number, if you buy a Zapme number, you can go anywhere and you can contact him.
Same number,
Same number, anyway. Yep, that's it. It'll find him around the world. So we've aggregated the world in that space. That's the exciting part about it. Is that it's pretty cool. It is, and we understand you're not going to change that primary. We get that part. But there's that travel number. There's the travel data that you can actually land in and get instant connectivity with your data, because there's nothing worse than getting to the airport and then having to go through the scrum of trying to get the little card to put in the phone.
Yeah, it's not fun at all. And just trying to find the shop that actually sells them in some of those airports, particularly in the US.
Yeah, it is. So we try to make it all very, very easy, that you can literally download it today and arrive in Asia tomorrow. You can arrive.
And so it's an app, right?
It's an app, correct.
So essentially, could you forward your normal number to that travel number when you're traveling? Can you do that?
You could, but then you'd be paying. You could, because
you'd still be paying the fees on the.
Well, on the local carrier side, you would, because you are forwarding a number to Zapme. But you absolutely could forward that.
But realistically, you just go, I'm traveling. If I'm traveling, call me on that number. Like some people have a US number and an Australian number. Some people have a UK number and Australia. You just basically have a second number.
Correct. And here's an example of it: students that go back and forth between different countries, and back to Adelaide, back to China, back to there. They can have an Australian number and they can go back and forth and turn it on and turn it off as they need. Yeah.
And great in places like Europe.
Great.
I mean, just like when you're constantly I remember when I used to live there, you're always doing that.
I mean, how many people do you know that carry around two phones in business? I know lots.
Do you?
Yeah, the two. You know how you have your own phone and then you go to work and they go, "Here's your work phone."
Yes, I do know that. Yes, we see that a lot.
Yeah,
I've never had that, but I see a lot of other people.
There's a lot of people that do that. So we're trying to solve that situation as well.
And that's not fun. That's the worst thing.
It is.
And we try and keep two phones charged. It's hard enough to keep one charged.
That's it. Yeah. It really is. It's quite a. It's funny now because I notice it. I mean, I'll get on a plane. I'll see two phones.
I'm going to notice it now.
You'll notice it now. People with two phones.
Yeah.
One of the interesting ones, and I know it's a little bit of fun, but it's actually very serious. There's over 300 million people on dating apps. You don't want
globally?
Globally, there's over 8,000 dating apps around the world. There's over 300 million people on them. And why would you give your primary number out on a dating app?
So it doesn't have to be your travel number. It could be your dating number.
Yeah, that's another one. So, a soccer coach, right? For example, imagine.
Oh my God! Yeah, parents.
Parents.
Yes.
And no disrespect to parents, I am one. But to call someone at 9 o'clock at night 2 years later because they were soccer coach of your under sixes 2 years ago. They don't want that. So there's been this real interesting sort of surge for us going in Zapme world. One, it was the multiple numbers, allowing you to have multiple numbers. As a business person, I could have one in Denmark, one in Switzerland, one in Australia. But then there's the dating side, and then there's the coaching side, and then there's the two phone side of things.
There's the recruiter side. You haven't even thought about this. Right now, every time I put a job ad up, I'm getting 600 average people apply. How many of those do you think ring and text me? A lot.
Right.
And I don't want them ringing and texting me. And the days of people doing that within a 9 to 5 environment, people don't care. All times of the day and night.
They don't.
The amount of people that text message me on Sunday about jobs is wild.
Yeah.
Very annoying as well. So then you don't see the real messages because you're so busy looking through. And I get that. It's the same with my LinkedIn. There's so many messages, you miss all the good ones.
Yeah.
So this is a great recruiting tool.
Well, hopefully it is, yeah. It's all those little tiny scenarios around. It's the traveller, it's the business person. Because we definitely are in the personal, business and travel world. In the personal world, because a lot of people will say, well, I don't travel. So that's okay, but are you a soccer coach, for example? And it's like, well, I don't have a business. I'm like, but you sell craft. You could have a number for your craft business, for example. So we're not asking you to give up your primary. That's the local telco. You're going to keep that. That's the one you've had. But this is just that value
like a work number. It's literally a work number on the same phone without any extra.
Yeah.
Which also for me, because the only calls I really do want to check when I'm actually traveling are work ones.
Yep.
Because the personal ones can wait until I get home.
That's it.
So I can literally separate. I like this.
Yeah. And then we've got Zap Chat embedded in as well. So you and I can have a little conversation over Zap Chat. So @Steve can talk to @Scott, for example. How are you? We
can I message someone who doesn't have Zapme?
You can't message someone, but you can call someone. That's the other part. We're not. Zapme is very much a standalone product. So we're not a car company that needs cars and people.
Right.
We're not a travel company which needs hotels and people. So I can have Zapme and you don't have to have it.
Yep.
I can call you and you can call me.
Got it.
But if we decide to message each other, then of course you download Zapme, get your @handle, and then we'll message each other. We can send photos and audios and all the usual stuff.
Do voice messages and stuff? All that kind
absolutely.
Of stuff? Everyone's doing voice messages now.
Yeah. So that's the byproduct of it. But the real beauty about Zapme is this international travel, international business numbers, second number, coaching
I can see that. And I think travel's making a big comeback right now. It really is. And I think not just that, when you think about, it's actually, if that doesn't travel, it doesn't matter if you just travel or not, because think about how diversified all work teams are.
Yes.
How many people have people that work in their companies in all countries all over?
Correct.
Nearly everybody does.
Absolutely. And we will be moving on to our B2B model eventually. But right now we're doing the MVP. We're bringing it out with consumer, direct to consumer, and we're giving you a communications tool that allows you to have phone numbers, have data, and message each other.
And in terms of contacts, just syncs with your phone contacts.
Absolutely.
100%. Anything, any other, I mean, obviously MVP, right? We're early days. I'm getting too excited. But what other features are there? Anything else at this stage? That seems like quite a lot already.
No, we're sticking with that for now. Yeah, we've got ideas to the vision of the future, but we've got to make sure it gets sticky and people enjoy that part of it first. So we will be going to market with very much the conversation of, here's your second number, here's your business number, here's your... I mean, right now on my Zapme, I have 5 numbers. So I have an English number, a Singapore, an American number, and a whatever. And anyone can call me on those numbers anywhere in the world at any time. So that's definitely where Zapme will play right now. We're excited about the future. We have actually a lot of vision for what it will be and what it's going to be. But right now, we're very conscious of people who do too much.
Yes.
So we don't want to do that. We're trying to sell, they say, well, keep to what makes your beer taste better. And that's what we're doing at the moment.
I thought we were friends. I only have one number for you, which is sad. I feel like I need to get some more of your Zapme numbers.
Well, now you can scan my code and it'll give you all my 5 numbers.
Well, I think I might be downloading Zapme. I definitely think I'm downloading Zapme. But I think that's... I mean, does
it sort of make sense, the whole thing?
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. And where I got lost there is I suddenly was thinking of all these other applications. This is my brain going a bit wild inside.
Yeah, and it does. I mean, I could sit here and rattle off 100 scenarios pretty quick, to be honest with you. But the point is that what we're doing at Zapme, we're marketing the solution to your problem. Yeah. So we'll be going, are you the soccer coach? Here's the thing. Are you on dating apps? Here's the thing.
Marketing dream.
Yeah, we're not saying, here's Zapme. Because people go, what's that? So we're very much going to be targeting the problem, is what I'm trying to say.
But did you pick the name? Because I'm thinking in my brain now. So if you just go, just Zapme. Is that the idea? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, correct. Well, actually, it came out of a lot of different things. It was actually a different name to it originally. And I was sitting at
Was it rude?
No, it wasn't rude. but it certainly didn't hit the mark.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was there. I don't know, one day I was actually watching a keynote speech, and that day there was so many people that said, call me, text me, message me, WhatsApp me, Facebook me, me. Yeah. And then I went watching this keynote, and it was the same thing. They were talking about me, and I said, oh, this is crazy. I said, we've got to be quick and we've got to have me. And then I said, well, was that me? And that was it. So I jumped on and just literally bought everything and trademarked. We're trademarked in over 80 countries.
Oh, that's good.
Fully trademarked and fully trademarked and fully accepted. And that was it. So that's where Zapme come from. It was, the first name wasn't quite hitting the mark, and this was.
Is it one word?
Zapme.
Yeah, I was going to say, to trademark, it would have to be, right?
It is, yeah. The nice part is, for example, like if we were out and about and I say, Zap me later, that means you can video call me, text me, message me. You can do whatever you want. I haven't told you to specifically do something. I've just said, Zap me later. And that's it. And
that's true.
Yeah, we're really into this.
And people will be going, what's that mean?
Yeah, I know what's happening. Yeah, Zap me later. Well, by then you would have known, we're together.
But no, I mean, other people listening, like around you, they'll go, why are those two zapping each other?
Do you like the name?
I do like the name. Yeah. I want to understand one more thing about it. There's one thing I haven't quite got clear on yet.
Okay.
Data.
Yes.
How's that work?
So data. So we run an eSIM into the phone. So it's we've actually coded in where you can automatically download the eSIM.
So when you get a number, you get the data.
You can buy a number or data or both.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So say for example, you just want a number. You don't have to buy Zapme data at all.
Can you just have data?
Or you can just have data.
Yeah,
absolutely. You can buy either one, or you can buy both.
And then, so when I get overseas, if I want the data to work?
Yep.
How do I do that?
You will buy data instantly from Zapme right now. You can buy it within 45 seconds.
Yep.
For any country, 200 countries, popular countries, regional, or just 100, global 100, which is 100 countries, and it will automatically embed an eSIM into your phone.
Yep.
And you just turn it on when you get off the plane.
And that's it.
That's it.
See, this is probably the one time.
1 minute, I reckon, and you'll probably have it bought, done, and in your phone.
This is the one. But you need data to do that.
You'll do it here, or you'll do it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That makes sense. We should have bought a phone in. I know, but no phones in the studio, and we haven't got any. We can't look at it. We should have bought a phone.
Like that before.
That's the one time.
But yeah, so it's that quick. And same with the number as well. Is look, I'll call it 2 minutes, but to be honest with you, it's probably about 1 minute to buy a number, and you've got a business in another country.
So it's super easy, quick.
Yep. And we're KYC, we're verified, we're doing all the right things. We're making sure it's not just a hacker's dream or any of that sort of stuff. So we're very, very controlled. We've got 2 systems to go in there to OTP to make sure we verify the people. So we're really focused on making sure our clientele are our clientele.
Yeah.
It's not where you can just go into all these fake accounts.
Yeah, and that I was going to say, because there's 2 sides to that coin, right? In some respects, you're protecting yourself in quite a lot of ways because you're not on the normal cellular network and they wouldn't be able to see that. But in some ways, other people could abuse it, I guess.
Correct. Well, we actually are. We aggregate over hundreds and hundreds of towers around the world. So we're running off a PSTN line around the world as well.
Right,
so we're fully
compliant.
Compliant
is the word.
Yeah.
It's an awful word, but it's one that's much needed.
It is. But that's the data side. It's nice and simple. It really is. It's as simple as an application that does all those things and it makes you that global citizen.
Yeah, I love it.
Which is the idea behind it.
Have you soft launched it at all? How many people you got using it, for example?
We have soft launched it, beta test.
Yep.
And by the time we go to air, it will be fully launched, as in anyone can download it and use it around the world. And it'll be open to all.
Where I was going to go with it was, have you got you've got people using it, I'm assuming, family, friends, and so forth.
Yeah, we do.
What's the weirdest thing someone said this is going to be great for? Has someone gone, you know what, and you've gone, what?
Yeah, I know we haven't, but I tell you what.
There will be.
Yeah, we're watching around the world where it's being used, and it's funny because we market. Marketing. Everyone says, "Where are you targeting?" And I go, "Oh, we're targeting here."
Yeah.
And then suddenly, someone over here's got it, and we're going, well, "How did they get it?" Yeah, and it's like word of mouth is traveling.
So just finding it on the App Store, the Google Play Store, whatever.
At the end of the day, I know people around the world. People. So just because you download it, and suddenly it'll end up on your feeds around the world, and then they see it. Your mate down in Argentina, so we're seeing all this pop-ups. And it's quite interesting. I'm going, how did they? So we will, over time, we'll get those analytics and be able to work out, why did you share it or what you did. But right now, we are very much a startup entrepreneurial business, and we're looking forward to.
You're going to have so much fun with marketing, video content, TikTok. My God, you can do some crazy stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. That's actually, we're in creativity mode right now. Hence why we're here as well in Sydney, talking to you. But it's really exciting, the creativity side and the influencers and the people want to use it. I mean, the travelers, the business people, the nomads.
Think about airline employees. Oh my gosh, like stewardesses, pilots. Like for them, it's a no-brainer. Cruise ship employees.
Yeah. So actually, I will throw that in. It's quite interesting that Zapme works out there in the middle of the ocean. So I can be 500 kilometres offshore and make a phone call. And
all right, let me give you a scenario.
So go.
I just, at Easter, 4 or 5 weeks ago, went down to Queenstown in New Zealand.
Yes.
Took my son and a few other dads, and we went walking on the Rootburn Trek, which is a 4-day trek.
Yes.
And there's no signal anywhere.
Right.
Like it's zero.
Yep.
Would it have worked?
It would, because, and I won't tell you how, but it would. I don't want to do it to work, but it does actually grab the closest signal as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think
so. It's quite cool in that way.
I quite like not having it, but
there is a difference between no signal and the closest signal. So there's always a closest signal. Now the no signal might have been from the tower you were using, but there might be another one on another.
Will it work on the watches?
I think so.
Can you download onto your Apple Watch and stuff?
Yet,
not yet.
But you will be able to.
Is that difficult to add that as a thing? I wouldn't know, because there's a lot of apps that do work and don't.
At the end of the day, your phones, these days can have an eSIM.
Yeah.
So it would be a dual eSIM. It'd be a double eSIM because you can't run. Yeah, you can't run a one eSIM.
No, obviously. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Geez, I sound like technical, like I know what
I'm
doing.
You do. Well, you are. You're a tech founder now, Scotty.
I tell you what, I actually really enjoy that part. I've learnt a lot in regards to the setup, the flows, the foundations, the build of the platforms, and the whole integration. I get excited by it. By no means a coder, but certainly I love that we can say, can this work? And then the team, and their amazing team, from the Adelaide team right through to Europe and the overseas, they're all working together to make this thing work. And it works. I mean, I can sit here right now and phone you from there and hang up and phone.
I'm going to get into it straight after this.
That's pretty cool.
And I find with, you know what I love about tech? I'm not a tech person. I've been doing tech recruitment forever since AS400s came out. But it's the user experience and all the science behind that. I find that fascinating. Like how things become intuitive, which I'm sure you would have done with this.
Love it.
I find that stuff really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I found it incredible. And I found out more as I've gone along as well, of course, And
there'll be plenty more.
I think I love the learning. And, back to your conversation 20 minutes ago is, why? It's the solution based, but it's the learning along the way.
Yeah.
It's the really finding out, can something be done, and stretching the market a little bit. I really enjoy that side. I mean,
Considering what you've done, to go and find something that you're learning on is pretty damn impressive, because you've done a fair bit.
Yeah.
All right, $1 million question, last question.
Yes.
What's in your brain? How does it look as a vision? You know, obviously there's not an end goal, because there's never an end goal. But if you think about your big hairy goal, for example, what is it? Is it everyone in the world using it? Is that how you see it?
No, I don't think it will be everyone in the world. I think the target vision is very much around making the communications applicable for yourself, but it's also applicable for your key strategic partners as well. So it's a matter of making it work for organizations. So we're trying to be that communications company that sits on top of all this other infrastructure.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
it's an add-on. It's always going to be an add-on, right?
Correct, yeah. I mean, look, in a year's time when we do another interview, I'd love to tell you more. But at the moment, I think it's very much the entrepreneurial startup story that we have a vision. We have a second number vision. We want to sell data in 200 countries. We want to offer the chat system. And then, of course, we'll bring all the B2B model and all the things that come along with that, which are pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Definitely that's the vision. But for right now, we are just trying to create a great communications
for the traveller, essentially.
And the
football
business,
coach.
the football, it's all that sort of side of it. We just want to offer that safety for dating apps, the safety for people. It's a second number thing. I just hate the fact that everyone gives their primary number out, and then that primary number is always the ones that get scammed and that.
Yeah, well, the text messages are out of control these days. Have you noticed? There's so many more now than there used to be.
Yeah. You keep your primary number with the telco that you want to be with, simply because that's your thing, but you shouldn't have to give that out to everyone. Hopefully we'll become that player in the market.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I love it. Look, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It's good to see you.
And it's nice to talk about it again. I get excited about it.
It's funny, one of the things we notice with a lot of founders who come on is, when you're a startup founder, storytelling is such an important part.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know how to tell their story. And so you put them in a studio and you ask them lots of questions, and they almost develop their story from that.
Yes.
And you forget parts, like you forget things that you did, and you forget, and you kind of think of new things during the conversation. So, it's good.
Yeah. And that's what happens. And I go back, that happened and that happened. That's why it happened. So,
well, by the time this comes out, you'll be launched.
Yes, absolutely.
So everybody out there, make sure you zap me. I'm going to give my Zap number out on the bottom of this chat, and we'll see how many people zap me after the episode comes out.
That'd be fantastic. Appreciate it. Thanks for your support, Steve. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure, absolutely.
It's going to be an exciting journey, and it's a great little story, I think. I know it's funny, another COVID innovation.
COVID did a lot of good. Did a lot of bad, but it did a lot of good.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Yeah. We're looking forward to seeing what happens. It's going to be an exciting journey.
Well, you're definitely coming back on in a year.
That'd be great, because I do have a lot of vision to give you. It's just the wrong
not
time.
quite yet.
It's just the wrong timing, because you don't want to be overzealous either. Let's face it. Let's just get Zapme out there, get people using it, make sure people enjoy it, and then we can put all the value adds in, which and I'll be honest with you, they're exciting value adds.
And you'll get a lot of your customers coming to you with ideas you didn't even dream of. Correct. I would imagine that's how it works.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we've had that already. You have people even in the team. I started with myself, and then the co-founder.
You wait till I've got it. I'm going to annoy you. I've got another idea.
Where's this? Yeah, and a lot of it will come out of that. And that's the nice part about being a team, that we can pivot that way too.
Yeah. Well, that's the beautiful part about the early stages. You can do anything almost.
Yeah. And we'll grab those nuggets as well, and we'll use them. So we definitely want the world to be part of this. We actually want to build a community. That's our goal.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much, sir.
And we'll see you in 12 months.
See you then.
Thanks for watching, everyone. What an interesting episode. Make sure you zap me. I am going to put the number in the bottom of the chat. And don't forget to subscribe to the show either. We'll see you next week.